doesn't weigh me down at all. He ain't heavy. He's my brother. He's my brother.
We would like to thank the choir at Valley View, the Madrigal Choir from Valley View High School. That was just tremendous. We always enjoy hearing you under the direction of Mr. Jim Wilson, the choir director. I have heard the Valley View Choir sing before. They are always just fantastic. We really enjoy it. Thank you. Did you have something else for us?
The pledge.
Oh, okay. So you're going to stay here till after the pledge. Great.
No, I want to be rooted.
All right. So this meeting is called to order at 7. Actually, we start at 7:05. Roll call, please.
Daryl Peden, present.
Gary Baugh, present.
C.J. Johnson, present.
Jesus Holguin, present.
Susan Smith, present.
Martin Rex Kidziora, present.
Robert Verdi, present.
Tina Dagnall, present.
Maribel Maddox, present.
Thank you. Report out of closed session. We discussed student discipline cases, public employee employment appointment, public employee discipline dismissal, conference with labor negotiator, conference with legal counsel, conference with real property negotiator, and settlement of claims. We will now have the Pledge of Allegiance led by Brittany Baxter, a senior at Valley View High School.
Please rise for the national anthem, or Pledge of Allegiance, sorry. This is my first time doing this. For Pledge of Allegiance. Thank you. Ready? Begin. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you.
Thank you again
all
so much. We will look forward to hearing you again in the future. Thank you.
Christmas concert the 12th and 13th. Spark of Love Foundation bring them to us. Good, good. Thank you, guys.
Thank you. All right. Going to the swearing in. Okay, so first up is the swearing in of our new board member, Daryl Peden. And do you have somebody you brought with you to swear you in?
Yes, my mentor, Ernest Ronay.
Okay. Claudia will help you out with that. Thank you.
I, state your name, do solemnly swear
I, Daryl A. Peden, do solemnly swear
that I will support and defend the Constitution of the United States and the Constitution of the State of California
that I will support and defend the Constitution of the United States and the Constitution of the State of California
against all enemies, foreign and domestic,
against all enemies, foreign and domestic,
that I will bear true faith and allegiance to the Constitution of the United States
that I will bear true faith and allegiance to the Constitution of the United States
and the Constitution of the State of California,
and the Constitution of the State of California,
that I take this obligation freely
that I take this obligation freely
without any mental reservation
without any mental reservation
or purpose of evasion,
or purpose of evasion,
and that I will well and faithfully discharge the duties
and that I will well and faithfully discharge the duties
upon which I am about to enter.
upon which I am about to enter.
Congratulations.
This is yours.
Mr. Peden, did you bring any family members with you?
Yes, I did, and I probably should ask them to come up when we did that. My wife, Viviana Peden's back there, and my
Could we have
daughter,
you stand
London.
up?
If you guys can stand up. My daughter, London, and my daughter, Paris. They both attend Sugar Hill Elementary School.
Thank you for coming tonight. And welcome.
Oh, and my twin brother, Daniel Peden, is here as well.
Yeah, we didn't want to forget him. Okay, thank you. I hope you'll enjoy your time on the board. And welcome. Dates of future board meetings. Our next meeting will be November 13th. Closed session at 5, open session at 7, right here in the boardroom. And then our meeting, next meeting will be December 11th. We just have one meeting in November. And then our meeting after that will be December 11th. Closed session at 5, open session at 7. Having one meeting in November makes up for the fact that we've had so many in October. Seems like we've had one every week in October. So December 11th will be our organizational regular meeting, closed session at 5, open session at 7. Ready for our superintendent's report. Dr. Kadziora. Yes, we have some new employees. Usually we do those after the superintendent's report. Would you like me to move that up on the agenda?
Well, I think we should do it now. Right?
Okay. Do it now. We do have some new employees, so let's do it now. I thought they would want to see the superintendent's report.
Well, they're not leaving.
Oh, they're not leaving. They're not going anywhere. So we have 3 new employees we would like to vote on and then bring forward to say a few words tonight. First, we have Ambra Dodds Main. She will be Assistant Administrator of Instructional Improvement and Academic Coaching at Butterfield Elementary School. Is she here tonight? Could we have you come up and just say a few words? What? Oh, we need to vote first, sorry. So I need a proposal. You don't want to hear her speak first
So
before we
moved.
vote? Okay.
I'll second it.
Moved by Mr. Boss, seconded by Mr. Johnson to approve this position. Call for the vote.
Mr. Peden,
Aye.
Mr. Baugh,
Aye.
Mr. Johnson,
Aye.
Mr. Holguin,
Aye.
Ms. Smith.
Aye. So, welcome aboard.
Thank you very much. I just want to say thank you to the board and to the cabinet for this opportunity to serve the students and staff in Moreno Valley Unified School District. And I look forward to serving the community as well. And just want to tell you I'm very excited and can't wait to start.
Good for you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Now, do you have any family members here with you tonight?
I do. I brought my husband and my sister with me.
Okay, give us a wave.
Thank you.
Thank you and welcome. I understand you have a doctorate.
Yes, I do. I have a doctorate in organizational leadership.
All right. Well, thank you and welcome to Moreno Valley.
Thank you very much.
Next up, we have Nora Ortiz. She will be Assistant Administrator of Instructional Improvement and Academic Coaching at Serrano. Do I have a motion for Ms. Ortiz?
So moved. Second.
Moved by Mr. Boss, seconded by Mr. Holguin. Call for a vote.
Mr. Peden,
Aye.
Mr. Baugh,
Aye.
Mr. Johnson,
Aye.
Mr. Holguin,
Aye.
Ms. Smith.
Aye. And Ms. Ortiz, I understand you have already been working with us here at Moreno Valley, so could you say a few words?
Yeah, well, again, I want to thank the board and the cabinet for giving me this opportunity for the next step, and I'm very excited to continue with Moreno Valley. It's been, I've been here for 24 years, so I'm very excited to work with the community, with the students, with the teachers, and the excellent programs that we have. So I just want to thank all of you for this opportunity. Thank
Well,
you.
welcome.
Thank you. Did you bring anyone with you?
My husband?
Welcome. Always nice to see your wife moving ahead. So thank you for being here with us tonight. Next up, we have Muriel Vega, who is going to be Assistant Administrator of Instructional Improvement and Academic Coaching at Armada. Could we have a vote on Ms. Vega?
So moved. I'll second.
Moved by Mr. Holguin, seconded by Mr. Johnson. Call for the vote.
Mr. Peden?
Aye.
Mr. Baugh?
Aye.
Mr. Johnson?
Aye.
Mr. Holguin?
Aye.
Ms. Smith?
Aye. So Ms. Vega, could you say a few words to us tonight?
I want to pretty much everything that my two previous new members of Moreno Valley have said. I want to thank you, the board and cabinet, for giving me this amazing opportunity to serve the students of Moreno Valley. And the little girl inside of me thanks you for letting my dream come true to pursue just supporting students in fulfilling their dreams. So
Thank you. And I understand you come to us from Corona, as did Dr. Dodds.
yes, I did. It's been a great ride, but we are so excited to come to Moreno Valley and just serve the students here. We're living our purpose, and so we are just so ecstatic.
Thank you. Did you bring anyone with you?
I did. I brought my husband and my 3 children, Andy, Andrew, James, and Jacqueline. And
Thank you.
I also have my brother, Oscar and Ada, and their 3 children, Gabriel, Sebastian, and Sophia.
Okay, half the people here. Thank you. All right, great. It's always good to welcome new employees or to see people advancing their positions. And now I'd like to turn it over to Dr. Kadzior for the superintendent's report.
So if you're new, make sure you don't leave until I get done, because Ms. Smith wants you to make sure you hear all this.
It's all the good stuff.
So welcome, everyone, and thank you for being here tonight. One of the things in our district is we have a mission statement, and our mission statement is that every student graduates from high school and they're prepared for a college or career of their choice. And so everything you hear tonight relates to those goals that are related to that. We also have 11 commitments that every employee and every person in our community works to do every day. And this is a foundation piece for having excellence on purpose and how we create excellence on purpose and shine brighter. The first one is to know your why, and the last one is to have fun. Those are the ones people remember all the time. But they're not the only ones, but they all lead up to that. But one of the biggest ones is to know your why. And so we talk about that in principals meetings and different meetings that we have, and everyone's committed to living these commitments in our district. It's not for one person, it's for everyone. And we're very proud of those, and we demonstrate those daily. So we're very proud of these 3 programs. They're going to be honored tonight, but we can't say this enough. We applied for 3 models of excellence with Riverside County Office of Education, and we received all 3. A district can apply for 3, but doesn't always get 3. And each of ours were all awarded, and we're very proud of that. The BAR program, Building Assets, Reducing Risk, that's at 3 of our high schools. The Cyber Patriots program, you see some of the people here in their shirts tonight, and they'll be honored. And our Positive Behavior Intervention and Supports program that Dr. Rozeski and Ms. Bender, who are back there, wave your hand, have initiated in our district. So we're very proud of that, and they were just celebrated on Tuesday, October 16th, but they're going to be recognized by the board again tonight. Today, Esperanza Arce, I don't see her in here. She's the Director of Secondary Education. You know, I can't see through this poll here, but she did something that, you know, she's new to our district, but one of the things we want is every district, every middle school in our district to be a national school to watch. And we're closer to that goal than we've ever been. And today she conducted 2 visits with outside teams, and the board was there, and they visited Sunnymead Middle School and Vista Heights Middle School. And I want you to know, if you could have been there, and I wish you could have been, you would have seen some amazing children, some amazing employees, and amazing schools. And we're very proud of those schools. And tomorrow they're going to visit Badger Springs Middle School, and hopefully they're going to be a schools to watch this year. So Palm Middle School is also applying. And Miss Arce, aren't you here? Where are you? Isn't Palm getting visited tomorrow too, or is that no? Their application is getting, yeah. So they're all applying, and maybe by the end of this year, all 6 middle schools are going to be national schools to watch. That's really something for a school district. So one of the things, Mrs. Arce, who's the Director of Secondary Education, and Dr. Buster, who's the Director of Digital Learning, is they apply for grants because there's never enough money, and so they're always out there seeking additional opportunities. And Ruby Medico, who's the new principal of Badger Springs Middle School, is she here tonight? Okay, she didn't have to be, but I see some different principals here, like Mountain View Middle School, John Black, and Sunnymead Middle School, Mr. Ochoa. They all went in together to apply for this grant, and it's a potential amount of $702,000 over a period of time, but it's to develop more literacy in their schools, and it's something they've already been doing, and it's something they're going to continue to do, but we're very proud they submitted that grant and are working on that. Many of our schools, every one of our schools has a STEAM program in it, and one of the things that parents asked for was STEAM in every school. So on October 18th at Ridgecrest Elementary, over 80 families in attendance, and they had 12 STEAM stations at Ridgecrest Elementary, but you'll see this at every school, and it's happening more and more, so we're very proud of that. We're very proud of our adult school. We don't talk about it often, but I don't know if you know that, but I think it's more than 132 students. I think it's like 1,032 students. I think a number's left off of there, but I could be wrong. But they serve over 1,000 students, and one of the things I want you to know is they're graduating students all the time. And these 2 students completed their GED, and they're going to graduate in the spring, but we're very proud of our community to continue to learn and continue to be part of our adult education program. I see Elio Rangel here. Isn't he back there? There you are. And Elio, do you see we're recognizing on the next slide the chess tournament that you had at your school? Isn't that you? It's not you? Yeah, they're here, but you helped make this happen in our district, right? Yeah, that's what I meant. Not that it was at Serrano. Okay. So there are over 80 students in attendance, and sometimes people don't know about this, but we had students that placed first place in our district and third place, and they're going to be recognized at the board meeting, but that's very, significant. These students are out there doing this and competing like that, and we should be very proud of them. Now, one of the things that's happened in the last 8 years, and it's just happened in the last 8 years, is the visual and performing arts, and Mr. Solomon, he's somewhere around here, but the bands and the musical performances in our district have improved tremendously. And so on Saturday, October 20th, Canyon Springs High School, I saw Miss Kerr come in. I guess all the principals hide in that corner over there, but come out wherever you are. And they scored 66.15, the highest first show score in 9 years.
All right.
So that's huge, and we should be real proud of the performance. Now, don't stop there. Go to Valley View High School, where they had the 35th annual Big Orange Classic, and the Crimson Regiment there at Valley View High School. The ensemble received second place in Class 3A, and the Color Guard won the Sweepstakes Award for the Best Auxiliary Performance. And that's Mrs. Johnson and Miss Burgo. That's wonderful. And one of the things we're very proud of is the lunches that we serve. We have, breakfast and lunch provided to each of our students in our district in transitional kindergarten through grade 8 that's provided to all students. And so October 15th to the 19th was a National School Lunch Week. And so we have a short video for you to watch about the activities that happened during that week. But they also happen every day, so it's not just that week.
The
30 million children are nourished in schools each day throughout the nation. And this week of October 15th through the 19th, we're especially promoting school lunch, Lots to Love.
My work is just to actually serve every day something nutritious. That's the most important thing, to eat vegetables, fruit, and the kids be healthy. So we try to prepare our foods, healthy and safe.
All week we are doing a bunch of different fun things. We have prize giveaways. We're asking students what they love most about school lunch. We've got posters that we're posting up. And we also have a social media window frame that we're taking pictures of students in, getting them all amped up about eating school lunch.
So, Mrs. Cook, you're a kindergarten teacher at Armada Elementary School, right? So you see the cafeteria every day and your young children go in there and get lunch. And isn't it exciting what happens at lunchtime in kindergarten? Well, anyway, I just always admire y'all when I see them go in there and what happens. That's really a fascinating experience. So one of the things people talk about is, do we have programs to help all students? Like when they want to go on to a career, they don't want to go to college, they want to go into careers or something else. We have so many programs there, and each week I'm going to really emphasize these. But at Bayside Community Day School, there's a program called Marketing, Sales, and Service Pathways. And these students get jobs, and these are all the places at Best Buy, Old Navy, Payless, Petco, Smart & Final, and Walgreens. And they work with them to keep these jobs, but to support them in getting other jobs. So if you go to the next slide, they belong to an organization called DECA, which is prepares students or emerging leaders and entrepreneurs for careers in marketing, and offers student-based enterprise certification through comprehensive exams. And then upon successful completion of this course, with a grade of B or better, the students are eligible to earn a certificate of training in marketing, sales, and service. So that's one of the programs that we offer. And I want you to know, people always say, you can go to any school you want to in the district. I approve, and I know I shouldn't say this, but I approve every transfer. There's room everywhere, and you can get into any program you want. We have so many options and choices, and it's exciting what's happening here, and sometimes people just don't know they're happening. On the next slide, you'll see that we're having our first student LCAP meeting tomorrow, our local control accountability plan. And 35 to 40 middle and high school students will come in this boardroom, and they're going to talk to us about the programs that we offer in our district, so we get input from them. And they give us feedback, and it's very exciting what they do when they come in here. So if any of you are around from 1:30 to 3:30 tomorrow, I hope you'll join us. That we have 3 meetings this year. We're very proud of our teachers. They're always getting awards, and DJ Mooneyham, a teacher of the Moreno Valley Unified School District Elementary Fine Arts Program, is a nationally recognized artist through the National Art Education Association. And Greg Solomon is one of his supervisors, and that we're very proud of that honor that he's received, and teaches art to our elementary students. On October the 12th, we offered a Million Father March in our district, and this boardroom was full. And is there anybody that was here that day when that was here? Now, you got your hand up back there, but I can't see you. Marie White, can you stand up? Act like y'all are proud that you were part of this. Nicole Mashori, Miss Chung, Ryan Palomino. Yeah, thank y'all. Yeah. Oh, Esmeralda Chalfont. And Mr. Jones, you were there too, but you didn't wave your hand or anything.
He did.
Oh, he did? Okay. But step out sometimes, like let us see you. But they came here and we talked about the importance of fathers and education. It was a beautiful event, and I hope more and more people continue to participate in this and show the support of the children in our district. We're very proud of that. And then Harold Acord's in the audience. Stand up. You know who he is. He's our MVA president. And is JoLynn Neal here, the classified president? And is Eric Swanson here? Eric Swanson hosted at Vista Del Lago High School CalTurn, which is a national organization that works to help build collaboration and develop and implement strategies to improve student outcomes. And people came from all over the country to Moreno Valley to have this wonderful experience. So thank you all for providing that and helping that be so successful in our district. We want to congratulate Sunnymead Middle School. I don't know if Mr. Ochoa is here, but on Sunday, October 14th, we now offer sports at the middle school level, and we haven't always done that. This is in our local control accountability plan, and this was on the new track at Valley View High School. And Miss Johnson, these kids loved this. These parents, I wish you could have seen them when they walked out there. They were like, we get to run here. They get to run here, But those kids were amazing, and Sunnymead Middle won this, and Palm, came in as the, what is that, the runner-up. But they both did an amazing job, and so we want to congratulate them. Then I want you to know, you can clap if you want to, but... it just doesn't, we have to remember that we're built on a foundation of success as well as what we're continuing to do. So today, CBS News, KCAL-LA, came to Moreno Valley because at Valley View High School, where Miss Johnson is the principal, they had two former baseball players that are going to be in the 2018 World Series. Can you believe that, Katie Berry? Did you know that? Yeah. And I was calling people in Tennessee and telling them, But Valley View High School class of 1998 and the Valley View class of 2003. So here's the link for you to see. This was on the news tonight, and maybe you didn't get to see it yet.
Yeah, people here say they have never been this excited about a World Series, and that is because this school has only retired the jerseys of two former baseball players. One, Ryan Madsen, a relief pitcher who was just traded to the Dodgers a couple months ago, and Stephen Wright, a pitcher for those other guys.
Ryan Madsen is the third pitcher of the game.
Ryan Madsen graduated from Valley View High School in Moreno Valley 20 years ago, but former teachers say he's not the type of student you forget.
Ryan, tall, lanky, gawky kid, but a phenomenal ball player and a really, really focused kid.
He wasn't the only standout on the mound. In 2003, Stephen Wright also made a name for himself at Valley View.
Stephen always would walk around with a baseball in his hand, lunchtime, whenever, because Stephen is famous for his knuckleball, so he was always walking around with his baseball.
Both not only made it to the majors, their teams have now made it to the World Series. Some teachers say they're not surprised to see these guys have this level of success.
They were disciplined, they were team leaders, and it was just a joy to have them around because you could always count on them.
And even though they may not know it, they're continuing to have an impact at their alma mater, showing current students what's possible if you work hard and focus on your dream.
This is a great example of what Eagles strive to do. They strive to soar. They go beyond just being here in Moreno Valley, being here at Valley View High School, and soar to new heights.
Now, Stephen Wright is still recovering from an injury, so he's not on the Red Sox active roster. Some say that's going to make it easier for them to root for the Dodgers, which a lot of them say they were going to do anyway. But they say either way this series goes, they will be happy, and they're hoping that whoever ends up with that World Series ring will bring it back here to show off. We'll send it back to you guys.
Now, I just want to say the news does do good stories. They do come out and do good stories. Today, when they said they were coming out to do this, I thought, well, come on out. And I've got a few other places you could stop. But thank you, Chris Weddle, for making all that happen and being out there today. Moreno Valley High School, where's LaToysha Brown? There you are. She's the principal of Moreno Valley High School, and they've had a really wonderful season this year in football. And they have a chance to win their league title, right, Mrs. Brown? And you're going to be out there making sure that they do, right? But, Eric Swanson, they're playing your school, so I'm sure that you're going to be like, I don't know how but that's this Friday. And then, Mrs. Johnson, You know, you've got to be so proud of Coach Niles and his team at Valley View High School. I mean, last year they were the CIF champions, and this year they're back in the league championship. And they're going to play tomorrow night. Valley View's going to play Lakeside High School at 6 o'clock at Riverside Poly, and we're going to be there to wish them the greatest success, because that is an amazing team. And I hope all of you come out there and just cheer them on, because they really do know how to swim. Now, this next one is Vista del Lago High School, Mr. Swanson, and he's very proud of their girls tennis team there. They got the league title champs. They finished the season with an 18-1 record for the Mountain Valley League, and they're hosting the league tournament. The finals are this Thursday, October 25th, and you think that they're gonna cinch this, right? Yeah, I agree with you. Never have people played tennis like this before. And then, not to beat them, but the girls' golf team, golf, tennis, swimming. Look at these kids, you know. Where are they learning this? You know, at Moreno Valley schools with these wonderful coaches and people. But look at this. They finished the season with a 7-1 record in the Inland Valley League. The CIF team competition's going to be on Monday, October 29th. I mean, you know, I'm like amazed. Golf, tennis, swimming, football, you know. So you're going to keep seeing more buildings being built in our district. You know, we have Measure M. These are bond funding. So the principal of Armada Elementary, Maria Ariola, I see you back there. So you're going to continue to see some modernization at your school, and those things are going to start. And Susan Cook, you'll be excited to know those are continuing to happen with the multi-purpose room and the office and the restrooms. I know you'd be happy. And then Moreno Valley, this is all of our high schools. They're all having facility upgrades, but Canyon Springs High School, where Mrs. Kerr is principal, you're going to see some construction start this summer 2019 and going into 2021. And it'll add a multi-purpose room at Canyon Springs, the modernization of the library and classrooms, and a 2-story classroom addition, including 8 science classrooms and 16 standard classrooms. Going to be an exciting addition to that school. And then at Moreno Valley High School, to start in June of 2019. So if you're driving around in June here in 2019, you're going to see a lot of things under construction. But one of the most exciting things is the Performing Arts Center at Moreno Valley High School, which is going to be a national place for people to perform and have arts. It's going to be a 675, 650 seat theater. Yeah, it's going to have all kinds of, you know, you're gonna be surprised. If you walked into Vista del Lago tonight, they have new seats in there, and you'd think you were in a new theater. So I just want you to know that things are continuing to always be upgraded and better for our students. Valley View High School, you're going to see the same kind of thing happen that you see at Canyon Springs. And Ms. Johnson, that's going to start in June of 2019. And Mrs. Brown, who's back there, is going to give you and Mrs. Kerr lessons on how to have school while you're under construction. Yeah. So another thing that's beginning in our district, we're the first in the area to do this, but I don't know if you know, but the Olympics are coming to Lake Paris, and I believe it's in 2023, 24, and so there's going to be a rowing competition there. And so we're having an informational meeting on November the 1st at Vista del Lago High School, and the launch day is going to be on Saturday, November the 10th. But this is a new Empire Rowing, and we're the first district in our area to start this. And I want to thank Esperanza Arce, who started this. And imagine, we're going to have rowing teams. I mean, who would have thought? And if you're not doing anything this Friday night, even if you are, I hope you'll come out to our football field at Moreno Valley High School and watch Moreno Valley High School play Vista del Lago. And you see how, I mean, Vista del Lago has a wonderful team this year, but Moreno Valley High School is having an exciting season, and see who wins that, competition. I know Mr. Swanson's back there looking at his phone, texting people saying, what's going to happen. But Miss Brown's equally interested. So on next Tuesday, I'm going to have a telephone town hall meeting. I have 2 a year on October 30th and May 9th. And this dials your home, and if you don't have your phone number connected to our district, you can let Chris Weddle know. He's our public information officer, and he'll make sure that you're able to be called at 6 o'clock. And we're going to be talking about all the new programs in our district, and I know you'll want to join me on that. This month we celebrate Hispanic Heritage Month, and we're very proud of what's happened in our district, and this is to highlight what happened with Hispanic Heritage Month in our district.
We're celebrating Hispanic Heritage Month over here. You know, celebrating Hispanic Heritage Month, it's important for our kids because in Southern California, we have a very high population of Hispanics, and celebrating and incorporating their traditions and a little bit from our countries, you know, it kind of welcomes us kids into this environment, in this country.
And let the kids know that everything's important. You have to be proud of who you are and where you come from, and just acknowledge your culture.
And so as we continue to shine brighter in our district because of you, we want to quote Cesar Chavez, American labor leader and civil rights activist. We cannot seek achievement for ourselves and forget about progress and prosperity for our community. Our ambitions must be broad enough to include the aspirations and the needs of others for their sakes and for our own. Thank you. It's been a great week so far in Moreno Valley Unified, but it's only Tuesday. So imagine what's going to happen the rest of the week. Did you want to? I mean,
Are you watching the game on your cell phone?
Did y'all hear what happened? Did y'all hear? You say it in the microphone, will you?
So Ryan Manson just finished pitching an inning for the Dodgers. He just finished, yeah.
See, we could just go home now and watch that on the... I did have a question. Okay. All right. I did have a question on the telephone town hall. Can people go online and sign up to get on the list? So you can go online to the district website, put your phone number in, and you'll be called. And then is there a number they can call in on that night if they don't get signed up ahead?
There is, but I don't have it from the company that's doing the call for us yet.
Okay, but we could post that on the district website as well. I think that's what I did last time. They didn't call me. I guess I'm not registered. And I just called in on the night of the thing and was able to listen in. So, yeah, if we can get that information out so everybody who's interested can get in on that. Thanks.
I'd like to make a comment about the nutrition. My grandson loves at Northridge to go in, and he's in a TK every morning. He may have had a bowl of cereal at home, but he beelines for the lunchroom, and he eats everything, and he loves it. So, a personal testimony.
A 5-year-old boy is always good for 2 breakfasts.
Mrs. Smith, there are cards in the back of the room on the table back there, aren't there, Chris, that are about the telephone town hall. If you want to pick up one, it gives you information about it.
All right, I just want to make sure everybody, whether they're in the room or not, knows that they can get in on that on the 30th. All right, so we have 3 resolutions tonight. The first one is Red Ribbon Week. The Board of Education of the Moreno Valley Unified School District does hereby support October 23rd to 31st as Red Ribbon Week and encourages all citizens to participate in tobacco, alcohol, and other drug prevention programs. So I need a motion
I move
to
we-
approve that.
I move we approve that resolution, Red Ribbon Week.
I'll second that.
Okay, moved by Mr. Holguin, seconded by Mr. Peden to support Red Ribbon Week. Call for the vote.
Mr. Peden?
Aye.
Mr. Ball?
Aye.
Mr. Johnson?
Aye.
Mr. Holguin?
Aye.
Ms. Smith?
Aye. We also have a resolution on Bullying Prevention and Awareness Month for the entire month of October, that the Moreno Valley Unified School District schools, parents, and community be encouraged to engage in a variety of awareness and prevention activities designed to make our community safer for all children and adolescents. Can I have a motion? Moved by Mr. Johnson,
Second.
seconded by Mr. Baugh. Call for the vote.
Mr. Peden?
Aye.
Mr. Ball?
Aye.
Mr. Johnson?
Aye.
Mr. Holguin?
Aye.
Ms. Smith?
Aye. And we have one more, Great American Smokeout Day. That kind of goes with the Red Ribbon Week. They should be at the same time. Well, here they are. This is November, though, making that the board encourages parents, teachers, students, and other school personnel and members of the community to participate in the Great American Smokeout activities on November 15th to demonstrate a commitment to safe, tobacco, and drug-free schools and communities. Can I have a motion on the Great American Smokeout?
So moved.
Moved by Mr. Baugh,
Second.
seconded by Mr. Johnson. Call for the vote.
Mr. Peden?
Aye.
Mr. Ball?
Aye.
Mr. Johnson?
Aye.
Mr. Holguin?
Aye.
Ms. Smith?
Aye. We will now go down below, and we'll do those present those resolutions and also some recognitions. Yeah. So first up is going to be our resolution on Red Ribbon Week, presented by Mr. Holguin.
Thank you, President Smith. I have a resolution here, and I would like to ask Ms. Patty Rucker, would you please join me up here? Patty Rucker is the coordinator of student services. Thank you, Ms. Rucker. I hadn't seen you for a while. It's time for you to come back. Thank you for being here. So this resolution is for Red Ribbon Week. Drug use and abuse remains a very serious problem in California and across the nation. And as a school board, we are especially concerned about drug use among young people. Especially disturbing is the continuing rise in abuse of highly addictive prescription medicines, which too easily end up in the hands of school-age young people. So we're proud to support the resolution to recognize the annual Red Ribbon Week, during which our schools emphasize anti-drug education marked by the wearing of red ribbons and a commitment by students to remain drug-free. I want to read a couple of lines in the resolution because I think they're very important and we need to keep those in mind at all times. One of the lines says, drug abuse stands as one of the major challenges our state faces in securing a safe and healthy future for our children. Another line says, the National Red Ribbon Week celebration is an effort initiated after Enrique Camarena, federal drug enforcement agent, was murdered by drug traffickers in 1985. And this campaign calls attention to programs designed to promote drug abuse prevention and to demonstrate support of a drug-free lifestyle. It is why the Board of Education, the Moreno Valley Unified School District, joins in proclaiming and observing October 23 to 31, 2018 as Red Ribbon Week. And we are signing this resolution along with the superintendent, and I'm handing this to you, Ms. Rucker, in an effort to continue our fight against drugs and tobacco and all those damaging things that our children should not have access to. So please accept this resolution on behalf of the school board.
As always, I'm proud that the board supports our initiatives. With Red Ribbon Week, it's well rooted into our school system. If you go to any campus, I'm sure you'll see activities and events to kind of make students aware, and then they know what options they have to get help. So thank you.
All right, now we have Mr. Baugh to present the resolution for the Great American Smokeout. Mr. Baugh.
Patty, get back up here. As you have heard, she is the coordinator of student services, and she's going to make another speech. Now, tonight we approve this resolution for the Great American Smokeout, which takes place on the 15th of November. We made great progress in the United States over the last 40 years, keeping young people from using tobacco products, and we have our public schools to thank for that. But as you know, Americans still use tobacco, and our younger generations are even more likely to use e-cigarettes that are falsely promoted as healthier alternatives and even marketed with candy-like flavors. Let me read you some surprising statistics from the Center of Disease Control. More than 16 million Americans are living with a disease caused by smoking. For every person who dies because of smoking, at least 30 people live with a serious smoking-related illness. Smoke causes cancer, heart disease, stroke, lung disease, diabetes, and chronic obstruction of pulmonary disease, which includes emphysema and chronic bronchitis. Smoking also increases the risk for tuberculosis, certain eye disease, and problems of the immune system, including rheumatoid arthritis. Smoking is the leading cause of preventable death. Cigarette smoking is responsible for more than 480,000 deaths per year in the United States. At the current smoking rates, 5.6 million of today's Americans younger than 18 years of age are expected to die prematurely from a smoke-related illness. So with all that in mind, it goes without saying that our school board and our school district enthusiastically support the Great American Smokeout on November 17th and urge all students and any others who will listen to please stay away from tobacco products. So, Patty, tell them.
Well, thank you, Mr. Baugh. You gave all the statistics. I wanted to say maybe a couple weeks ago on CBS Sunday Morning, they had a special about the e-cigarettes and the flavors where it's kind of a gateway to tobacco. I was always proud that California was in the forefront of reducing smoking for our youth, but now with this kind of cool e-cigarette and then all the flavors, they're starting to get into the habit of having something in their mouth. It's like a habit. So it's another backdoor way to get our youth to start smoking again. And it's just a fight. So if you see someone with the tobacco or the e-cigarettes, it's not really cool. They make them look like little toys. I mean, it's like cool to have. But I just see it as a gateway, and we just need to educate our youth and our adults that this is just a backdoor marketing ploy. And if you notice on TV, there is a commercial where I think it was a big lawsuit, and the tobacco company kind of says any aspect of tobacco is poisoning and death, and they just kind of read it, and it's real like a blank screen. It's, if you've seen that. So that's their disclaimer, but it's lethal. So thank you. Thank you.
Next up, we'll have Mr. Johnson present the bullying prevention.
Don't leave me hanging. Was it Sheffield? Okay. Oh, okay. So we share. Okay, my fault. I was already thinking about 8 years ago. I sat back in the back, and she was sitting back there with me, and I was just watching what was going on. And she kept coming up to get all these awards, and I thought, boy, this lady is mighty bad. Couldn't figure it out, but after I started coming for a while, I realized what was going on. So that's why I was holding her. I thought she was going to be getting this one. But Dr. Sheffield, please come forward. This one has to do with bullying. Dr. Kitcher, I'd like to say thank you for everything that you've done with the district, because for the last 8 years, we've been reading these. And I will tell you from my own experience, we're doing a lot better. We're not where we want to be, but we're doing a lot better. And we credit the administration for that, but more importantly, we credit you all, the families. Because if you guys don't change your attitudes, then the children won't change theirs. So continue doing what you're doing, parents, and let's make sure we can just stamp this whole thing out. So I'm going to read this resolution. Bullying can affect everyone, not just children. Bullying is linked to many negative outcomes, including impacts on mental health, substance abuse, and even suicide. Far too many children live in fear of bullying, and many times it happens here at school. They experience negative physical and mental health issues and affects their academic achievement. The effects can linger long before a child's school years are over. Not only do the children being bullied experience negative life effects, studies show that children who bully others are more likely to engage in violent or risky behaviors as adults. So bullying also affects our staff and parents, who are sometimes made to feel intimidated by other parents. That's a shame. In addition to being attuned to bullying behavior among children, the school board urges all adults to model respect in the way we interact with each other. Children are watching. They're watching it on TV and they're watching it in here. And they're listening to the adults. And they are learning what's acceptable behavior and what is not, based on what they see and what they hear. And what they learn from adults at home, they carry with them back to schools and beyond. We approved this resolution recognizing October as National Bullying Awareness and Prevention Month tonight, and we encourage all students, staff, parents, and the entire community to help us promote safe and positive learning climates at all of our schools. So congratulations.
Thank you. Although Bullying Prevention and Awareness Month is recognized in the month of October, it's our job to make sure that we look at this as a job that we do all year round. It's something that we need to make sure we pay attention to, make sure we have a positive, safe school climate. So we are making sure that we provide training for our staff as well as implement programs and policies on our school campuses to make sure our students feel safe and enjoy their learning environment. Thank you very much.
We'll now turn the time over to Ms. Maddox for recognitions.
Good evening. How is everyone doing? Good. It is my honor and pleasure to acknowledge our staff and students for tonight's recognitions. And we're going to start with our attendance recognitions for the month. I think we're all in agreement that it's important for students to go to school every day and on time. That's the way our students learn. And so we're going to recognize some of our schools.
323, twice the allotted time will be provided to a member of the public utilizing a translator. So first up, Roy Bleckert. Agenda item F5B, Bullying Prevention Awareness.
The school board stated it correctly. There we go. The school board's going to get the time back. The school board stated it correctly when they did the resolution. School board should act responsibly, adults, because bullies run on fear and intimidation. And this school district has had a decades-long tradition of that. Just ask Pete about the Board of Education of Ray Tanner in the 50s, or of him in the superintendent of the 70s. I lived that. How about 1996? Baca versus MVUSD. This board pulled her out of this room in handcuffs against her right for free political speech and won the case in court. It gets cited many times. Fear and intimidation. If you come up here and tell the truth, if you come up here and say, yeah, Fifth High School, you can't build it, you get shouted down. You come up here and say, you're not going to get matching funds for Measure M like you were promised. You get shouted down. Fear, intimidation, it's alive and well in Moreno Valley Unified School District. If a person takes and makes false accusations at someone else about their finances and can't back them up, what is that? Fear and intimidation. Does this board stamp that? Has it had a decades-long of tradition of this for 6, 7 decades that I know of? Still happens today. It's a sad commentary. And you know who loses? Everyone in this community, each and every day. We lose in quality of life. We lose in just being civil with each other. It happens, it's happening, and it continues to happen today. I really wish one day you would take to heart the words you pass and practice what you pass, because you have a long tradition of not doing it. You will continue not to do it, and you stamp it even up into today. And you know who suffers the most? The kids of this school district.
Thank you. Next up on agenda items is Luis Palomares, also speaking about bullying.
Okay, I brought this issue up before. And you know, this bullying, what they talk about in the schools, and they have all this intervention and all these different programs to help and all these different things they do for that. But you know what? It's not enough. When we have kids committing suicide in our schools, it's not enough. It has got to go deeper than that. We really got to get serious. It's not enough. And what we need to do, we need to teach it all the way from the grammar school. Not to do it. Let's be nice in our grammar schools. And I know you're doing that, but to go deeper with it, to let these kids know, you know, kids kill themselves over this. Kids get involved with drugs over this. Kids don't graduate over this. Kids don't want to go to school over this. And those are the facts, and they got to learn it all the way from little up. So there has to be more done about it. And when we get into the high schools, it has to continue all the way through all the grades. And when we get into the high schools, it should be an elective. They should take a class about that, the drugs, all of that stuff that comes into play. Kids start taking drugs. Kids start doing a lot of different drinking. Oh, hey, it's going on. It's alive and well in our high schools, big time. We don't talk about it. We just, oh, wow, bullying and the red ribbon thing. And God, let's not put a Band-Aid on it. We're not in Disneyland. Let's really go deep and really get to the root of the problem and really make it work here in our district. Maybe you don't want to hear this. Everybody said kumbaya and it was all great and fine. But I'm talking about kids that have committed suicide in this district within the last 5 years. There's been quite a few, and it's too sad. And when the parents have brought it to the administrator's attention, first it starts in the campus, supervisors. Then it starts in the, let the teacher know or let somebody know. And everybody turns a blind eye. This is what happened to a student that I know, a blind eye. And then to the administrators, and a blind eye written down until the student just didn't want to go to school no more and killed himself. It's sad. This wasn't ours, but it's our kid. It's, you know, wasn't my son, your daughter, but it's our student. It should never happen in our schools. It's not an isolated incident. It goes across the whole United States. And it's sad and true, but we got to really go deep. We really got to start it all the way from the kindergarten, because it's alive and well, and it's getting worse. I mean, hey, we got it all the way from the White House down. You know, a fake president, the fake news. He's dividing the country. That's my opinion. You don't have to agree with me. Look, get off the Fox News channel. Look at other TV, you know, MSNBC. You'll learn a lot. You'll learn the real facts and the truth right there. Because it's bad. It's really bad.
Thank you, Mrs. Palomares. We are moving to now public comments on non-agenda items. This you can talk about whatever you want. We encourage public comments. During this section, staff may briefly respond to statements or questions, or may ask questions for clarification. The board may refer to staff or other resources for factual information. Direct staff to report back at a subsequent meeting, and/or direct staff to place the topic on a future agenda. If someone wants to lodge a complaint against an employee, the appropriate form may be obtained at any school or the community education center. Individual speakers shall be allowed to speak for a total of 3 minutes on non-agenda items, regardless of the number of issues to be addressed by the individual. The Board of Education shall limit the total time for public input on non-agenda items to 21 minutes. Twice the allotted time will be provided to a member of the public utilizing translator. Also, we can increase or decrease the time allotted, but I think we're right on with the number of speakers tonight, so we'll go with the 3 minutes. I would also like to remind you that there are children present in this room at this time, and that there are children who are watching this perhaps on the internet or TV with their parents. So we would encourage you to keep that in mind when you're making your comments. Thank you. And first up is Luis Palomares.
Okay, Dr. Kitsadora, I had brought a couple of issues up, and I talked to him about them. He took care of them, and it was about bullying. Thank you, Dr. Kitsadora. But I mean, you can't be everywhere, and every parent can't come and, you know, through these doors and do that. It shouldn't have to be that way. I have a rapport with you, and it's great. And I try to start at the school level first. I try with everybody on the school level before I even go there. If I don't get any satisfaction there, then I come to you, and I always get satisfaction. But every parent can't do that, and every parent don't know to do that. Boy, you would never get nothing done if that was the case. Okay, now, as far as how great our schools are and all that, hey, I've seen a lot of great things going on today. Wow, it was great. But the good will take care of himself. I'm not saying that we don't got a lot of good things going on here. We do. Fantastic things. But as far as we want our kids to know how to read. A lot of kids are suffering with the reading skills. We need to get them, when they graduate, they should have, you know, all their reading done. By the time they get into the 5th grade, they should have all the foundation. A lot of kids are going into the middle school and can't even do that shit. What's really going on in our district? What's happening here? Come on. Great. You know, things have to be done about that. As far as you were talking about the new buildings that are coming on the campuses, that's great. I know that Moreno Valley High put the Measure M money, right? I could be wrong. Measure M money. I know Moreno Valley, my taxes went up. I think everybody else's did. Wow. But anyway, if it's going to be for a good cause and for our students, why not? Yes. But we got to do it all across the community here. And I know you're starting. So Moreno Valley has a beautiful building there. I think it has 30 classrooms. Let's get another 30 classrooms going there. 2-story building. You know, we don't have to worry about the earthquake stuff no more, like way back in the day. They were making all the schools flat because of that. But, you know, they're earthquake safe now. And get rid of these bungalows. How much do we pay for them? We're renting them. That's a lot of money. Who's got the contract? Who knows who? what's really going on there. We don't need all these bungalows. And like I said, they're hot boxes for our students. And in the winter, they're freezing. We got to get them out of here. They don't need to be here. We don't need bungalows. Let's put some brand new classrooms like we did at Moreno Valley High all across the district. Let's do it. I'm all for that. Now, Fleming, wow, you know, I'm totally against that dame. And I'll say it just like I said it, because that's what she is. A liar, a fake, a phony, and a fraud. And that's the facts. And she's out there spinning her lies again, you know, about not just the mayor right now, but other candidates. Wow. Thank you.
Thank you. All right, next up is Ella Stokes, Parent Ambassador. We love to hear from our Parent Ambassadors. So, Mrs. Stokes, come on down.
Good evening to everyone. I'm here to give a slight report on my schools, which is Ridgecrest Elementary School and Landmark Middle School. Ridgecrest for this month had their first math family night, and it was a full house and successful. The parents are learning more about how to assist their children at home with their homework, and this is a great thing that went on, and we're proud of it. Next, we have at Ridgecrest, they are having their first African American Parent Advisory Committee on tomorrow night, and they are looking for that to be a success also. And they're proud that their attendance is 95% and still going up. The next school is Landmark Middle School. They did their kickoff for the college, and it was a success, and they had 642 students that were attending. And after that, they decided on October the 6th that they got tickets and had a bus, and they went to UCLA to see the game there, to choose their team, of course. And the next thing we had was the PSAT and College Planning Day. Eighth graders, there was eighth graders, 363 students completed the PSAT test, and 8/9 included, and the seventh graders completed 1,000 hours of SMOOCH PBIS. Achievement and Excellent Future Planning Unit is 642 students. The Avid Site team has 15 members, 7 sessions, and 260 students are enrolled in this practice. They also have now on campus, on lunch hour, they have clubs. And they have 5 different clubs that the kids can go to. This keeps the classes, the students involved in something during lunchtime instead of just out on the playground. So we're proud that we're doing things that's very positive at both our schools. And thank you for your time.
Thank you. Next up, we have Johanna Liva. I'm sorry, how do you say your last name? Leva. Thank you, Ms. Leva.
Good evening. I just come to talk on behalf of the parents too, you know. As a parent ambassador, I have the opportunity to share and see, you know, our needs as parents and the needs of the students. And we're very happy because, for example, in Moreno Elementary, we're starting our new book club, and it's in Arabic. So that's one great thing, you know. That was a goal that Vivian, another parent ambassador, set for herself, and we're helping her, you know, to achieve that. And we're so happy. Also in Moreno Elementary, they started this, their student advisory committee, you know, and kids were, you know, promoting themselves, so, you know, that other students will vote for them, and they were all excited and happy. And also, for example, in Moreno Valley High School, we had our first APAC meeting. and it was fantastic. Miss Brown she's such a great principal. She supports, their parents and students a lot, and that makes, as a parent ambassador, I can tell you that makes my job easier, because she's really committed to the engagement of parents and students, at her school. And also at Sugar Hill, they had their math night, and it was just a success. It was, fun to be part of it and see, how the engagement with the parents and students and, school staff, how they are trying to come together and help the students, learn more, and as parents, be able to help those students to achieve academically, more. And I'm just great and amazed, with everything that is happening. And I know there's a lot of work to do, but I think if we know that, we need to be united and come as a team and help, to obtain those achievements that we want for our students and work as a team. But I'm just excited, and I want to say thank you, for watching out for our kids and doing all these new amazing things, to improve our district and improve our city, and for reaching out to parents and, like I say, listening to them and their needs and the things that they want. It's so exciting to see, how as a district you're trying, that connection with the parents. And I'm really happy, and I really want to say thank you for that.
Thank you so much. Next up, we have Marcela Quintero. Mrs. Quintero, did you want a translator? Yes. Okay. So would you set that for 6 minutes, please? Thank you.
Buenas noches, miembros del board y
Good
padres.
evening, members of the board and parents.
Soy Marcela Quintero
I'm Marcela Quintero,
y estoy aquí en referencia al señor Pide.
and I'm here in reference to Mr. Pidley.
Ustedes lo nominaron y evitaron una selección democrática por medio del votante.
You nominated him, and he was nominated without a democratic vote.
Eso indica que no respetan nuestro derecho de padres de votar y seleccionar al candidato apto.
That indicates that you don't take as parents you don't consider us as parents and the decision of the vote.
Y seleccionar al candidato apto para esa silla,
And to select the member for the chair.
dejando sin voz y voto a los votantes.
You left us with no vote and no voice for us.
Otra cosa, al principio dijo la señora Susan Smith
At the beginning, Susan Smith said
que tuviéramos cuidado con lo que venimos a decir aquí.
to be careful with the things that we say here.
Nosotros siempre venimos a expresar problemas reales,
We always come here to express real problems,
aunque a veces ustedes dicen que somos mentirosos.
but and sometimes you said that we tend to lie,
Y nos tratan de intimidar.
and you try to intimidate us.
Usted está diciendo que hay niños viendo la televisión ahorita.
You said that there's kids that are watching the TV right now.
Entonces, ¿cómo cree que se sintió mi hijo
How do you think my son felt
la vez que usted dijo que ahí vienen estos y los quiero ahorcar?
when you said those are coming and I wanna choke them?
Al llegar yo a mi casa, él estaba llorando
When I got home, he was crying
porque pensó que nos iban a hacer daño
because he thought that we were gonna get in trouble, or
por solo expresar lo que está pasando en las escuelas.
simply by expressing the things that are happening at the schools.
Siempre nos dicen, déjense de política, pero no es política la que estamos haciendo.
It is said that not to get into political stuff, but it's not politics that we're
O
dealing
dicen
with.
que somos mentirosos,
Or sometimes you guys say that we're liars
pongan las quejas,
regarding the complaints,
se las vamos a resolver.
and then you're gonna deal with their complaints,
Y nunca pasa nada con las quejas.
and the complaints never get resolved.
Y yo me pregunto,
I ask myself,
¿por qué mejor no trabajan con los padres?
I asked myself, why don't you guys work with the parents
En vez de estar intimidándolos.
instead of intimidating them?
Y a los niños también.
And on the kids too.
Si de verdad quieren trabajar,
If you want to work,
trabajen por nuestros estudiantes.
work for our students.
¿Qué es lo que realmente es lo que se necesita aquí en este distrito?
That's the reality that is needed at this school district.
Yo sé que hay personas buenas que quieren hacerlo,
I believe that there's good people that want to do that,
pero la política entre ustedes
but the politics among yourselves,
no permite a esas personas trabajar.
it doesn't allow some people to work with each
Y
other.
ustedes saben,
And you know that
porque ustedes están aquí adentro.
because you guys are the ones
Yo no puedo
at the
hacer
board.
nada si ustedes no dejan trabajar a las personas que realmente quieren mejorar el estudio de los niños.
I cannot do anything if you guys don't allow us to better the education of our kids.
Así que les pido que por favor
And so I ask you,
trabajen
work
por el mejoramiento de los estudiantes porque este distrito está muy mal.
To work on the improvement of the school district because it needs improvement and it's bad.
Desgraciadamente comparado con otros distritos,
Unfortunately, if it is compared with other districts,
los estudiantes se gradúan
the students graduate
en un 90 o 80%,
at a 90 or 80%,
pero van de el 20% solo llega a las universidades.
but only 20% of them are
Y
able to get into universities.
Y ese 20%
And
está
that 20
batallando
and that 20% is having difficulties
en mantenerse en las universidades
to stay at the universities
por el poco preparación que llevan.
due to the low preparation that they have.
Es todo y buenas noches y espero
That's it, and good night,
que en realidad cambien.
and I hope things will change.
Thank you so much. Next up, we have Jorge Quintero. Is Mr. Quintero here? All right, I don't see him. Next, Alicia Espinoza.
Good evening. Well, you know, Mrs. Smith, I'm surprised that you would make that comment for the speakers to be very considerate that there's going to be kids and what we say, and I agree with you. But what about the other gentleman that's working on the school site who sent those very nasty, verted videos to that employee? He's still working on the campus. There was no caution for him, but that's okay. We'll address that issue at a later time. I'm here today because this is a democratic process. We have a gentleman that has been appointed by the board to be on the school board. And I think that we as citizens have a right to vote on who we want on that dais. And it's very important for the residents to have that democratic right to be able to vote, just like you want to be able to vote. I personally don't agree with him being appointed. I personally am very knowledgeable of his connections with Corey Jackson, and there's some issues that I'm going to be addressing regarding Corey Jackson. And just like you said, be careful what you say, and I will respect that. I will respect that. I will be addressing this issue with Dr. Kizora. So that's one thing that obviously you need to consider, that we, the people, need to be able to vote on who's going to be sitting on that dais. Thank you.
Thank you. Last but never least, Roy Bleckert.
Thank you for the introduction, Ms. Smith. Daryl, congratulations on your appointment. And this has not a lot to do with you. It has more to do with the decision makers that made the decision. Because you had lots of information. You even had a lot of pictures, but you didn't ask us one question. You didn't make one inquiry of what was going on or why we should be on the board. This was the dumbest most incredulous interview process I've ever been in as an interviewer or an interviewing. I've been in hundreds of them. You're going to put somebody on the board and you're not going to ask them anything? You that are going to be working with them, you give us 8 questions, no response, up or down, because that's very important. Because I was asked, sitting in the green room as one of the interviewees in there, can I take my notes into the interview area? I said, sure, but I had a big smile on my face. Because if you didn't know the questions and you weren't able to make a statement, opening or closing, why would you need any notes to answer questions you don't even know are coming? Yet we got somebody on the board like that, maybe, possibly. Look at the process. You want to talk about fear, intimidation, we're going to do it our way? Like I said, it's alive and well in Moreno Valley Unified School District. I'll give the MVEA credit, at least they asked us questions back and forth when we went through the interview process there to make an endorsement. But this board did not. And you got to ask yourself why. About 2 years ago, there was somebody who walked up to the city council and said, we did a poll. Where was that poll for the 5th trustee seat in Moreno Valley Unified School District? Check out who did that 2 years ago. But when it's my turn, well, let's bypass the process. Let's take away people's right to vote. It's all okay if the end justifies the means, and that's the problem. You don't care. The end justifies the means, and you will do anything to keep your power.
Thank you. We are moving to G1, a public hearing, disclosure and adoption of tentative agreement between the Moreno Valley Unified School District and the California School Employees Association and its Moreno Valley Chapter 410.
Mrs. Smith, and I wanted to ask the board before Ms. Palomares and different people leave tonight, Ms. Quintero, before they leave tonight, they made some serious allegations about the school district. And did Mrs. Rucker leave and Dr. Sheffield? Would you please come up to the podium here, please? Is Ms. Rucker still here? One of the things we take very seriously is suicide prevention in our district. And when the statement was made that students kill themselves here, there have been incidents in the past where that has happened. But there are many measures in place to prevent students, to support families, and to assist them when we are made aware of crisis. Mrs. Rucker and Dr. Sheffield, briefly, would you please share with the public the measures that we have in place to support students who are in crisis?
It's a part of our board policy. Number one, suicide awareness is very big, and so there's been legislation that has been put about that requires us to make sure that we have suicide awareness and prevention policies in place. And so one thing that we have definitely done is we've made sure we initially train our counseling staff to make sure they're aware of all the policies and procedures that must be in place. And then they are taking that information to our classroom teachers. And so the law is requiring that it should happen for grades 7 through 12, but we're making sure it happens for TK through 12, for all those teachers that work with those students, so they're aware of the policies, processes, and ways to make sure we do prevention. And then in addition to that, we have assessment protocols that are in place. And I'll have Ms. Rucker speak to you in regards to the assessment protocols.
One of the things that we primarily with the counselors. So if they get information that a student has made a statement or seems distraught or wrote a note, they immediately meet with the student and do an assessment, and we have risk levels. So if it's a risk level 2 or 3, then they sometimes call student services to do a consult to see we need to escalate this to get some help. We have a partnership with the police department. They have a CREST team that they come out, they'll do an assessment, they'll meet with the families, they'll go to the home. Personally, about 3 or 4 times a week, I get calls from schools to help assess a student, and we get treatment. So I think with Moreno Valley, like when I got when we got the resolution last month, years ago we didn't talk about suicide. Now it's common. We talk to the parents. It's transparent, and I think that's why we get so many referrals, and we take every threat, every comment seriously. And like I said, I'll get 3 or 4 calls a week, and I'm sure there's more because we respond. And students have been taken to the hospital to get treatment, and when they come back, we follow up and we try to do a safety plan. We work with the parents, we work with the student, and we monitor them. So there's always more, there's always deeper. We're trying to partner with community resources for mental health. Kids are stressed. I see it. They're just stressed, and there's just so much going on. So we do what we can, and we need partnerships. We need help. So I'm with you. We're doing, I say, a lot more than what we were doing before, and we can go deeper. We need to help our babies.
I just wanted to make sure the public knew that we take this very seriously. And just recently, I worked with Dr. Sheffield and Ms. Rucker to make sure that grades TK, transitional kindergarten through 12th grade, that there is training and ongoing training and assessment in each of our schools to make sure that teachers and any person that works in our buildings is aware of anybody that has any suicide tendencies or, plans to do something to themselves. We take this very seriously. And so when I hear this, I couldn't go on with the regular board meeting without the public knowing, but also that we do a lot of prevention, and we're very proactive about this. We don't just wait for it to happen. We want to not have it happen, and so therefore we teach people about the signs, and when they see the signs, to make sure that they are addressing them. So I appreciate, and if you, Ms. Palomares, if you'd like to have a meeting with Dr. Sheffield. Well, I want you to know Dr. Sheffield and Mrs. Rucker are great resources in our community. And would you give them your card so they can help? Because we really have a lot of things in place that are making our children feel safer and secure, and working with them to have an environment where they feel like they can come to somebody when they need something.
Well, Dr. Kitsador, you did all the cleanup and damage control, and I'm sure all of these things are in place. But there was a student in this district 3 years ago, and the parents called me, so I didn't make an allegation. That's true. And you want me to bring the parents in? And they tried and tried and tried, and this happened at Valley View. So somebody dropped the ball. So there it is. I guess I'll bring them off then. That way you can know that this happened, and it wasn't an allegation. It's a fact in the truth.
I didn't say it was an allegation. I know those things to be true. But since that time, we have changed how we conduct ourselves and do things in our district. And we take any situation like that.
Dr. Katsiora, I'd like you also to explain why we chose to appoint rather than go through the expense of an election.
I want you to take this extremely seriously when you talk about what happened. And you were here, Ms. Rucker, when that happened at Valley View. And we do not, take that lightly. I mean, I want you to know. And every day we make sure we live our lives to make sure that children do not have that experience at school. And ever. When we hear about something, we do something. I mean, I don't care who tells me what, I'm on it. And so are the rest of the people that work here. And I call them daily about things. And, I just want you to know it is a very serious. No, I'm saying, I understand. But I want you to know when you bring it up, and it happened 3 years ago, it brings up something within us that we can't ignore, because I think it's important for the public to know how much these 33,000 students matter to us. And we don't take our roles, our responsibilities lightly. So, Mr. Baugh, thank you, Mrs. Rucker and Dr. Sheffield. And would you please give Ms. Palomares your card so that she can reach out to you for additional support? And Mr. Baugh, the reason that we held the reason we had a provisional appointment was because of our timeline. We were not in. There's an election can be held if it's within so many days. And Claudia, is it 60 days of an election? And we were not within that time frame once Evan Morgan's resignation and all of what had to happen taken by the board. And so the board acted to make sure that the public was served. One of the things that people wanted was for trustee area 5 to be served by someone. And so the reason that they did a provisional appointment was because we were not in the time period for an election. And it was within our responsibility to make sure that we did a provisional appointment. So you could have there could be an election, but that's costly. It can be $200,000 to $300,000. And one of the things that the board looked at was the cost of an election, but they also looked at holding within the election that is happening November the 6th or 6th, and we didn't meet the deadline for that. So not being able to meet, we can't determine when someone resigns and all of those things. When those things happen, we work with our legal defense, our legal support, and they advise us as to what legally we can do. And so that was what we were advised to do, was to work with the board to have a process where we would select a candidate, we would seek applications from trustee area 5, which we received 10, and so the board decided to interview all 10 candidates. One withdrew, and they designed the questions. We've done this before and developed a system and a process so that they didn't speak to each other about it. They got the applications, and they had to figure out, from the interviews and the information they had, who to select. And that's part of the process, and it's all done legally. We don't do this on our own. We don't make these rules up by ourselves. We use our legal counsel to advise us and assist us to make sure they're done properly and that we are following the law. And that's very important to us, to be responsible and accountable to our citizens. And Ms. Claudia Hargay, I'm sorry. Did I leave anything out, or is there something I should have mentioned? Because I think I've covered everything, but I think it's important to know that this was all decided in open session, too, at a board meeting. This was not determined in closed session or anywhere else. There was a discussion here about what to do, and happened with the public. And the public, we had many people speak, and many people spoke about they wanted to have trustee area 5 filled with a person that would represent their interest and support the work that needs to be done in that area. And that's what the board did.
Just one clarification, Dr. Quezada. Maybe you did mention it and I missed it, but the questions, somebody asked about the questions, and the questions were designed by members of the board, if I'm correct. So we did ask the questions, but it was just the way it worked that night. We didn't ask the questions here verbally, but we individually drafted the questions, and then they were put together with the assistance of also the Chief Human Resources Officer.
important. Thank you, Mr. Holguin. Dr. Verdi is our Chief Human Resources Officer, and he was heavily involved in this, as he is involved in the hiring and the recruitment and retention of employees in our district, and that is an area of expertise. And so he provided the board. They met, there was a committee selected. It was Mr. Johnson and Mr. Baugh, and they met together with Mr. Dr. Verdi, and they determined the structure of the interview, the structure of the questions. We had a subsequent meeting with Mrs. Smith and Mr. Holguin, the board president and the board vice president. I met with them to review the everything that they had developed in that committee, and we came up with the process, but all of it was vetted through our legal counsel, because we can't do anything without checking to make sure that we're meeting the responsibility of an election or a provisional appointment, and we were, and that's part of why we did what we did.
Thank you. Anything else from anyone before we move on to the public hearing? The public disclosure of the provisions of a collective bargaining agreement is made in accordance with AB 1200, Government Code 3547.5, requires employees to publicly disclose provisions of collective bargaining agreements before such agreements are adopted. And I believe that this has been posted. Has this agreement been posted? Yes. Yes. So this has been publicly posted for the required amount of time. I need a motion to open the public hearing on the CSEA collective bargaining agreement.
Madam President, I move that we open the public hearing on the disclosure and adoption of the tentative agreement between MVUSD and the California School Employees Association, Chapter 410.
Okay, it has been moved by Mr. Holguin and seconded by Mr. Baugh to open the public hearing. Call for a vote.
Mr. Peden?
Aye.
Mr. Baugh?
Aye.
Mr. Johnston?
Aye.
Mr. Holguin?
Aye.
Ms. Smith?
Aye. Are there any speakers wishing to address this issue at this time? Do we have any speakers? I don't have any speaker slips, but is there anyone that would like to address the CSEA agreement? Yes. Ms. Neal, did you want to say something? This is our CSEA president coming forward to say a couple of words about the agreement.
Good evening, board and cabinet. At this time, CSEA would like to thank you for the offer of new negotiation, and we appreciate your acceptance of this tentative agreement. In respect to our children and our community and our parents and our employees, we respect that this is a responsible agreement, and we'd like tonight to thank you for accepting it, and we hope you do accept it, and we appreciate working with you. Thank you.
Thank you. We like working with you too. So any more comments? Any comments from the board?
Madam President, I move that we close the public hearing.
It has been moved
I'll second that.
and seconded. Moved by Mr. Holguin, seconded by Mr. Peden to close the public hearing. Call for a vote.
Mr. Peden?
Aye.
Mr. Baugh?
Aye.
Mr. Johnson?
Aye.
Mr. Holguin?
Aye.
Ms. Smith?
Aye. All right, so we have opened and closed the public hearing. This is always so confusing for me. Now, we are going to go to approving the tentative agreement. We open the public hearing, we close the public hearing, and then we approve the tentative agreement. So,
Is there a presentation?
is there any other presentation regarding this from Dr. Verdi or anyone else?
I can speak briefly to the item, Mrs. Smith. This, again, is the compensation agreement with CSEA Local Chapter 410 and the district. And briefly, what it includes, effective November 1, is a 2.5% compensation increase and a one-time 1.5% off-schedule payment to members of Chapter 410. This was a negotiated settlement between the district and the association. We do believe it is both fiscally responsible and also it is a good deal for our employees as far as their hard work and dedication to the district.
Thank you. I need a motion to ratify the agreement.
Madam President, I move we adopt the tentative agreement between MVUSD and CSEA Chapter 410.
Okay.
Second.
Moved by Mr. Holguin and seconded by Mr. Baugh to ratify this agreement. Call for a vote.
Mr. Peden?
Aye.
Mr. Baugh?
Aye.
Mr. Johnson?
Aye.
Mr. Holguin?
Aye.
Ms. Smith?
Aye. Thank you. Wait, I want to see that. All right, moving to the consent agenda on page 36. We have already voted on H4A1, so as we move to approve the consent agenda, we will remove that item. So do I have a motion to approve the consent agenda as amended?
So moved.
Moved by Mr. Johnson,
Second.
seconded by Mr. Baugh. Call for the vote.
Mr. Peden?
Aye.
Mr. Baugh?
Aye.
Mr. Johnson?
Aye.
Mr. Holguin?
Aye.
Ms. Smith?
Aye. Thank you. We now have an item that we took up during closed session, expulsions. We had 4 discipline cases, 525 to 528. Do I have a motion to approve these disciplinary cases as presented?
I move we approve the actions on student disciplinary cases as presented.
It has been moved, and do I have a second?
So moved. Second.
Seconded by Mr. Johnson to approve actions on student disciplinary cases as presented. Call for a vote.
Mr. Peden?
Aye.
Mr. Baugh?
Aye.
Mr. Johnson?
Aye.
Mr. Holguin?
Aye.
Ms. Smith?
Aye. Okay, we are now moving to business service action items. This is the second reading for these 4 board policies. Mrs. Dagnall, do you have anything to say about these?
I can give you a brief overview of each one as we go through if you'd like.
Okay, let's start with number 1.
Okay, this one is a new administrative regulation 3230 for our federal grant funds. We have not had this administrative regulation, and it brings us into compliance with SB 544 with the Federal Uniform Administrative requirements, cost principles, and audit requirements for federal funds. It deals with the procurement, allowable cost, audits, and other requirements of this administrative regulation.
All right. Do I have a motion to approve this regulation? Moved by Mr. Baugh,
Second.
seconded by Mr. Peden. Call for vote.
Mr. Peden?
Aye.
Mr. Baugh?
Aye.
Mr. Johnson?
Aye.
Mr. Holguin?
Aye.
Ms. Smith?
Aye. Moving to page 81, the second reading and adoption of Administrative Regulation 3514.2, Integrated Pest Management. Anything that's going to get rid of pests, I'm in favor of. Do we need more clarification on that?
No, this is just the second reading. We brought the first reading on October 9th, and again, it reflects new state regulations, discusses the requirements for an integrated pest management strategy using the least toxic pest management practices. It gives requirements for notifications and warning signs, all which we currently already follow.
I see it also prohibits growers from making certain agricultural pesticide applications within 1/4 mile of a school site between 6 a.m. and 6 p.m. So I think
Correct.
that's certainly a good idea. Do I have a motion on this to adopt this?
I'll make the motion.
Moved by Mr. Johnson,
Second.
seconded by Mr. Baugh. Call for the vote.
Mr. Peden?
Aye.
Mr. Baugh?
Aye.
Mr. Johnson?
Aye.
Mr. Holguin?
Aye.
Ms. Smith?
Aye. We are on to 1.2.C, page 87. Food service operations, cafeteria fund, and administrative regulations 3551. Food service operations, cafeteria fund. Mrs. Dagnall.
Yeah, this is a pretty extensive change, bringing us into compliance with SB 250. That's the no shaming policy, ensuring that students with unpaid meal fees are not shamed or treated differently than the other students. It also includes SB 730, the Buy American provision, SB 544, clarifying the procurement standards for federal programs, and also SB 557, authorizing the donation of food to a food bank or other nonprofit. And I did mention last time that we currently provide food to Salvation Army and St. Christopher's, and based on Mr. Baugh's recommendation, we are looking into also providing to the CAP program.
Thank you. So I think we're already doing all of the things in this regulation. So do I have a motion on this?
So moved.
Moved by Mr. Baugh,
I'll second.
seconded by Mr. Johnson. Call for the vote.
Mr. Peden.
Aye.
Mr. Baugh.
Aye.
Mr. Johnson.
Aye.
Mr. Holguin.
Aye.
Ms. Smith.
Aye. We are on number 4 now, 1.2.d, the free and reduced price meals and administrative regulation 3553, free and reduced price meals. Mrs. Dagnall.
Yeah, this is another one that we're getting just in line with the current laws. This one adds SB 138 to the policy. And again, we follow this policy and in fact applied within the regulation timelines and were approved for that CEP provision feeding all of our elementary and middle school students.
Okay, thank you. Can I have a motion to approve regulations 3553?
So moved.
Moved by Mr. Peden,
Second.
seconded by Mr. Baugh. Call for the vote.
Mr. Peden.
Aye.
Mr. Baugh.
Aye.
Mr. Johnson.
Aye.
Mr. Holguin.
Aye.
Ms. Smith.
Aye. We are now moving to what could be considered our favorite page, page 107, comments from board members and superintendent. So we'll just go around. Everybody will just give a few comments.
Just real quick, today was my first day officially as a board member for Moreno Valley Unified School District, and it was a wonderful day. I was able to attend the Schools to Watch program, which really opened my eyes to all the great work that we're doing here in Moreno Valley, as well as all the staff and the teachers and also the youth and all the effort they put into everything that we do here in Moreno Valley. So I'm really excited about being on board, and I'm looking forward to contributing. Thank you.
I would just like to welcome you to the board. I think you're going to be an asset to the board, and I realize that it is not easy to come to the board to figure out all the acronyms, for heaven's sakes, but you'll learn them all. I would encourage you to take the governance, Master of Governance program that the school district would be glad to pay for, and it would be very helpful to you in your deliberations. Anyway, we want to say welcome to the board, and we're sure that you're going to contribute well to the board. Thank you very much. That's all I have.
And I too, Mr. Peter, want to thank you for coming up and being interviewed by us, not knowing what we were going to ask, but letting us know that you want to be a part of this district, and more importantly, of this board. So thank you and congratulations. We're looking forward to continue work with you in the future. I just have a couple of things. Dr. Ketchiora, as I sat here and we watched all of the awards that was handed out to the district, and I just thought to myself that just a few years ago, we were not doing that. People were doing the same work, but we just weren't recognizing people for everything that they did. And I'm sure we still leave some out. But I do want to thank you and your cabinet, as well as everyone else who have a hand in helping identifying people who've done fine jobs for the district. Oftentimes, people will come up and speak, but they never mention that. And I don't think it's because they just forgot. I think it's because they normally know they only have 2 or 3 minutes to speak. So they want to make sure that they talk about the points that they've written down, but oftentimes they're not thinking about some of the things we're awarding people for, like outstanding work. So I do want to make sure that I let you know personally, and I'm sure my colleagues feel the same way too. We're very proud to have to shake the hands of all the people who comes forward to receive acknowledgement, because these two guys who's been here a long time, they will acknowledge, because it's a fact, we didn't always do that. So thank you guys for doing a fantastic job. And I'm sure there's more to be done, because the schools out there are doing a great job training these kids, and we're very proud. The other thing, so we talked about giving the kids a congratulatory handshake, but also want to thank you guys for the asterisk program. We've talked about we've got to do something to help our students during the summertime to find work. So we were the leaders by giving them some opportunities right here in the district, and then we went out and talked with the community, and then the community followed suit by hiring some of those kids. But I bring that up because we had an opportunity to talk with some students who you guys gave a chance to work in the office. And one of the things one of them told me was that you guys didn't give them enough work. Whatever assignments that you gave them, they had it done just that quick.
They were in our office?
Well, they were in the office.
They were in our office because they had to stay late.
They stayed late? Well, that's because you kept giving them more and more and more. But my whole point is you kept them very busy, and they appreciated that. So that's the main thing. They didn't sit around and just draw a pay. They learned a lot because you guys taught them a lot. And thank you for giving them that chance, and thank you for keeping that work up that Dr. White started. So in closing, my colleague, Mr. Hoguin, I'm going to read my quote that goes along with this. Partnership with various local businesses to develop their skills and work experiences. That's one, and that goes along with the asterisk program, but I'm going to end with this one. If there's anything that a man can do well, I say let him do it. Give him a chance. And that's what you guys did with the asterisk program. And that was by Abe Lincoln. That's all I have.
So I need to start by saying welcome to the Board of Education and congratulations. And again, I offer my help in any way I can help you and give you some guidance with resources or any questions that you may have that we can discuss. I'll be glad to. So welcome. I want to mention a couple of things that happened during the last couple of weeks, because I think these are examples of great things that are happening in the district. And one of them was already mentioned. Dr. Quezera talked about the Caltern Conference, and that was held at Vista del Lago High School, where several districts from different parts of the state were present to share their experiences on how they manage their relationships between management and employee groups. And the fact that it's here in Moreno Valley, I think says a lot about what is happening here as far as those relationships. And I think that is a great thing when we consider other districts from several parts of the state that are not enjoying those relationships. And that is a good thing for a district, because it's much easier to do the work to move the district forward because of those relationships. So I just want to stress that. And we were able to be there and listen to some other examples, but several people that we were able to talk to, and they came to us, and some of them knew us already because of previous demonstrations of those relationships. So that was a great thing. There was an activity, when was this, last Friday, October 12th, and it was a march. It was the Million Father March, and I believe this group of parents came from a couple of 3 or 4 elementary schools in the surrounding area, close to the school district. They walked to the school district office, and they had a gathering here in this room. And I think a great activity, because one of the purposes of that is to encourage fathers to get involved in the system, to get engaged. and there were a lot of moms, and there were a few dads. But I think it's great that we continue with that effort to increase the number of male volunteers and people engaged in the system, because also that helps with the students' behavior and participation in the academics and all the different activities at the schools. So that was a great thing, and we were allowed to speak there and able to share a couple of experiences. So a great activity. So it's good. Congratulations again to those programs that won the Models of Excellence awards for the Riverside County Office of Education. We were able to present there too with them, and that also showed the people out in the other school districts in Riverside County that we are not just approving the programs. We know, we are familiar with the programs, because when we step in and we mention something about the program, is because we are familiar with those programs and we know what is happening, we know what it's doing, and we know who is involved. So the three of us, Gary, I don't think you were able to be there, but the three of us were able to be part of the presentations. The Pathways to Higher Education activity this past Saturday at Vista del Lago High School, where students had access to several resources and several ways to find information about accessing universities, community colleges, and just higher education as a whole for students and for parents. It was a great event. I wish we would have seen more students, but I think it is something that we need to continue and encouraging more families in the future to attend these great events, because there's a lot of resources there, and they can have access. But I know this is not the only one that the district put together. So there's several others. Whichever activity it is, I hope that more parents, more students attend those so they can see what is available. Last night we were here in this room with the Footsteps to Freedom debriefing, and some of us have already gone on that trip, and that was an experience to change my mind, my life, and to understand how to respect people, how to respect individuals, how to respect children, and how to respect others. And that was something that has helped me a lot since I went to the trip, the last couple of years. And I'm so glad that the district continues to support that activity, because it really helped us understand our past and the past of others, and how they suffered to get through just day by day in running for their lives and being able to survive. And then, some people that were able to help the poor, to help the slaves, and to help many people to survive, those heroes. And today, we hope that those punishments don't exist anymore in any way, in any manner. So I think that's a great trip. It's a lot of learning there. And last night was a reminder with the comments of several of those people in attendance. Congratulations to the MBA for the new office. We were there today for the ribbon cutting ceremony. Great office, great facility. And there was one more thing that I wanted to mention. Yes, Canyon Springs High School had a session a few days ago where all the counselors were in attendance, or were assisting those students and their families in attendance to complete the FAFSA form for financial aid financial aid application. And I just want to say thank you to those counselors. I was there at Canyon Springs. I'm sure it's happening at the other high schools too. I was at Canyon Springs, so I want to say thank you to all the counselors for taking the time to guide the families, to guide the students into something that is really important, the financial aid forms, which allowed many people to access the higher education institutions when there is when they don't have resources in the family. Resources are available, and it is great to have that access and guide the students. In the past, I don't remember having that guidance. When I went to school, there was no such thing. So today, that's something that we have here, and it is it is remarkable. So I just want to say thanks for that. A lot of activities and football, volleyball, and baseball, and those things are always great fun. And we'll continue to attend those. Water polo, and I'm so glad that we have all those activities here for our students. We will continue supporting those as much as we can. There's the community game coming up this coming Friday. We're going to be there, and a couple of concerts here and there. Valley View High School Madrigals, they sang here tonight. A few days back, we went to the school to listen to them, and they just keep getting better and better. And several others too. We have visual and performing arts continues exploding in the district. We were at the conference in San Jose this last week, and one of the highlights of the conference was what is happening in Moreno Valley. Mr. Solomon was there sharing information about how the school district has worked with the visual and performing arts, and being the first district that adopted the Declaration of the Rights for students to get an equitable arts education in our district. And that's the first adopted resolution in the entire state of California. So we're very proud of that. So thank you, Dr. Katsura, and the entire team for everything that is happening in the district. And again, welcome. And that's all I have. Thank you.
Thank you. I also went to the Million Father March. We didn't have quite a million fathers. We had a lot of parents. Parents are so important in the lives of their children. They're much more important than the schools, really. We do what we can, but we couldn't do it without the parents. And fathers are especially important in the lives of boys. They're the ones that teach their sons how to be men and how men act and how to be a leader in their family. So we appreciate all the fathers in our district who are so supportive of their children. It was just great to be there. The concluding speaker was Mr. Holguin, and it was great to hear him talk. I also went out to Palm Springs for the Models of Excellence, starting at 8 o'clock in the morning in Palm Springs. You know what time you have to leave to be at Palm Springs at 8 o'clock, but it was great to see our district honored with 3 different awards and presentations. But something I went to that I don't think anybody has mentioned was the Student of the Month Award at Sizzler this last week, where a student from each of our high schools, and really each of the high schools in Valverde, is given a Student of the Month Award. Some of these students are not always the top students in the class. These students are usually students that have overcome some difficulties in their lives and have struggled and have overcome those obstacles to move ahead and advance in their lives and prepare for college and be ready to move on with their lives. So it's just great to be there and to be among these great kids. And usually they have their parents there with them, and a teacher and their principal. We were sitting at the Vista del Lago table, and we talked to each other and said, we wonder if we have enough room for the Vista del Lago people that are coming in because they're not here yet. They said, oh, Mr. Swanson's a little bit late because he has to pick up his student. So the student's parents could not come. Nobody else could come, but Mr. Swanson was going by his house to pick him up and make sure that he got there to the breakfast to receive his award. So we have great families, great students, and great staff members, and we appreciate all of them. I was also at Sunnymead Middle School today for the redesignation of Sunnymead as a school to watch. I think they were designated as a school to watch previously, and now they have been redesignated again as the schools to watch. So, and certainly there are great things going on at Sunnymead Middle School, and it's great to have so many of our middle schools designated as schools to watch and have the great things that are happening in Moreno Valley Unified School District recognized.
Excuse me. That
Yes.
kid you just talked about, don't forget to tell him that he's above 4.0, 4.3, I think it was.
Yes, the student that Mr. Swanson had to pick up because he didn't have a parent that could come to the breakfast with him did have over 4.0 4.0 grade point average. So, yeah, these are great kids that have maybe been through some trials in their life and are really making some progress. So I'd like to say again, welcome to Mr. Peden. We're glad to see you here tonight and look forward to working with you as a school board. And with that, I will turn the time over to Dr. Kedziora.
So, Mrs. Palomares, I want to apologize to you because we have 11 commitments in the district. And one of them is I should listen to understand, and I should have good manners. And I did not mean that towards you tonight. I want you to know I meant it about what we do for children. So I apologize if it made you feel uncomfortable. I want you to know that tonight there were some statements made about our district, and you know, if I didn't care, I wouldn't be sitting up here. But you know, that anybody can come up and say anything. But I want you to know that it's important to, you know, share the truth, and you know, people can have opinions. And so tonight there was a speaker that said that we have 80 to 90% of our students graduate, but that 20% of them, only 20% of them can read or something. And I take great exception to that. And I want you to know that I personally, you know, along with a team of people, the Chief Academic Officer, Maribel Maddox, last year we had some of the highest college going rates in the county. It rose at a higher level in Moreno Valley than any other district. Now, students don't get accepted to college because they can't do something. They get accepted because they've completed something. But one of the things I know is that in 2016, the scholarships that were received by our district was $35 million. And in 2018, it was $73 million. And I believe it was higher. But when I ask students when they get this money, how they get it, because I never had a scholarship, so I never applied. And my father was a Marine, so if you're thinking I was rich and I grew up and I worked and paid for it myself, so there were 5 kids, and my parents told us early on, you know, if you're going to go to college, you're going to pay for it yourself. So I got a job. But so when these kids apply for these scholarships, I'm intrigued. I go over there and I say, "How do you get this money?" And they say, "Well, Dr. Kedziora, they look at the class, you know, your class grades." So you don't make grades in a class and get $73 million in scholarships because only 20% of you can do something. Most of you can do something. And I think we have to be real mindful of what we say in here. Like Ms. Smith said, children in our district hear what we say about them. And, you know, I've had kids say to me, "Dr. Kedziora, we're working hard. We're doing a good job. Why are people saying that we're not that smart?" I said, "They don't know you. They haven't met you like I have. But they do hear you." And I think it's really important to know that there's 33,000 of them, and their parents tune into this and they listen. And yes, you can have an opinion, but that does not define 33,000 students when you have an opinion. I have the facts. And I want you to know it matters what you say about kids, and it matters when you say that what they can and cannot do. And I know for a fact that they can do it. And so we all have to say that, yes, our graduation rate is 90%, but our children going to college has increased every year, and the scholarships amount have increased every year. And they're not getting those scholarships. I mean, you're a parent in our district. Yeah, your son goes to Canyon Springs, and he's one of the brightest, you know, young men on the planet.
Yeah, and he actually hasn't been able to have his father in his life either, so he could be a victim mentality, but that's not the way I'm raising him.
Exactly. But what he does, though, is he reaches out to people like me, and he said, you know, we talk. Yeah, but he gravitates towards success because you've encouraged that. But I just say that's what kids do here.
Can I just add a quick note real quick?
Yeah, since I'm talking, you can add to my comments.
In there, just really quick with my kids, I was so intimidated by school. It's a very emotional subject, and I was helped by the FAFSA and everything to go to school. And I got over it. I got my associates, and I gave my bachelor's December 8th. And I went from zero confidence to getting almost a because, and I haven't had to pay for it. And so I'm very, very thankful for what has been allowed in my life and other people's lives. So
Thank you.
very thankful for, and it was scholarships. And
Isn't it Mrs. Turpin?
Turpin.
Turpin, yeah. Thank you, and what an amazing son you have, and amazing community members. You know, and the last thing I want to tell you about is, you know, I give parents my phone number. You have it, Miss Palomares. So tonight I get a text while I'm sitting here, and this is from Mr. Lecon. And he's a parent that used to come to board meetings, but I said to Mr. Lecon, we can help you. We can take care of this. But he sends tonight, good night, Mr. Kedziora. I want to thank you for one of your employees, Crystal Clark. She was an amazing help today, and she was really supportive in my child's IEP. Thank you, Pam Bender, Shelley Crandall. I just wanted to let you know not only about the bad situations, but also in the good ones. Mr. Kedziora, Crystal Clark made the district look greater and talk good, and she's a very good employee. Please give her congratulations, and I have never been so happy, and enjoy the rest of the night. Thank you. So that's what I say to you. Enjoy the rest of your night, and thank you for being part of our community.
Dr. Kedziora, I'd like to add a comment to it. I was at the Student of the Month breakfast. I was set at Canyon Springs. The girl there was from Pakistan and immigrated here 2 years ago. She spoke perfect English. When she arrived, she spoke no English. She's in the IB program at Canyon Springs. She's going to Canada for her education at a university. I forgot what university it was. What? British Columbia University. Anyway, what a great program we have with the IB program at Canyon Springs. It was a joy. Her mother was so pleased with her daughter, and she turned her life around, she, the daughter, and didn't pay much attention into school, and then all of a sudden caught the vision and has been just almost perfect. And it was exciting to hear that kind of a recovery story.
It is exciting.
Thank you. And with that, at 9:53, 54, this meeting is adjourned. Thank you. See you next time.